Okay, everyone, thank you very much for waiting. Our webinar is now going to start. Knowing you all from different locations, Hong Kong, Malaysia, the US, UK, India, etc. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Thank you very much again for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Cynthia Chen, your host in the next hour. I am based in Japan. Please take the poll to let us know where you are staying, and feel free to greet in the comment box to tell us more about your profession so that we can customize our events for your needs in the future. Today is our second webinar, Get to Know Metaverse and Startups Involved, a joint event between See-Through Metaverse and Singapore Startup Community. See-Through Metaverse is a new learning and sharing group. As facilitators, we encourage all newbies, investors, builders, and corporate to join us. We learn together, develop the community, and collaborate together. Feel free to join our Discord server too. The link is already in the comment box. Let's gather and share. Singapore Startup Community is a meetup group with nearly 4,000 members, and we have physical events like network over drink sessions in bars. So come and join us when you are in the Lion City. Back to our webinar today, Get to Know Metaverse and Startups Involved. Feel free to ask questions or express your opinion in the chat box at any time. We will address them in the Q&A session later. This is a study, research, and sharing group, but not for investment advice. We are not associated with any of these projects. Today, we are honored to have two leaders in the industry to share their views from basics, Mr. Michael Gu and Mr. Sky Lai. Thank you very much for joining us. Allow me to introduce them one by one. Michael has been involved in the digital asset and blockchain space since 2012. As an early adopter and educator on all things relating to digital assets, Michael has built himself as a reputable and knowledgeable figure in the blockchain space. Michael's box mining YouTube channel has over 268,000 subscribers and 18 million video views on YouTube. As a result, Michael is highly sought after by blockchain companies to invest and provide advisory and consultancy support. I'm sure we will have a very fruitful conversation today with Michael. And for Sky, he is the ex-country manager at Kikitrade, an Asia crypto investment platform with 18 million US dollar raised. The founder of Investment, a Hong Kong leading crypto influencer and community. He is also the co-founder of Earlybird, which is an NFT whitelist platform. Sky also launched 2 NFT and DAO projects, including Genesis Pass and Just for Fun at BAYC, all sold out in 3 hours. He is also the host of Hong Kong View TV and Metro Broadcast Crypto Program, and a columnist of eDigest, Yahoo Finance News, Investing.com, and Market Digest. The two speakers will talk about what Metaverse is. Is it our future or just another jargon? They will also introduce some showcases and explain how startups are involved. Let me remind you that if you have any questions during the presentation, just feel free to type them in the question box in your Zoom control panel. We will have time for questions in the end. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to turn the floor over to Michael.
All right, thank you guys. So I hope you guys can hear me, just like mic checking just now. So thank you, Cynthia, for turning over the floor to me. I'm going to share my screen with you guys and let's get started. So very quickly, let me just make sure that the screen is in good shape. So I have a presentation for you guys and let me just click share. So let me just make sure that this is also on your screen as well. So Cynthia, can you tell me if this is on the screen? Okay.
No problem. Cool. Thanks.
All right, and the size is okay, right? So it's a half screen for me. So
yeah, it's in full screen. I can see.
Okay, it's a full screen. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Amazing. So the realistic metaverse. So beginning and talking about this subject, I wanted to do something a little bit different from maybe what you're seeing on the media, and kind of give both some information about what is a metaverse, but make it in a very realistic fashion, because I feel like when I browse the media, and even if I do a quick Google search, there are just so many different interpretations and a lot of I think fantasy going into the space. So I wanted to give you a very grounded talk today, just a brief overview of what is the metaverse. But first, a little bit about me. So I'm Michael Gu. I've been the founder of Box Mining Channel. I've actually been mining Bitcoin since 2012. So I've been in the blockchain space for a long period of time, and it started off as a hobby. So whilst I was doing gaming projects, I was kind of dabbling in Bitcoin mining. I thought, what was this? Is it interesting? Is there anything valuable here? And I really went into this very seriously in 2016, and I saw the rise of both Ethereum, and then of course the rise of the kind of gaming projects related to it, and then the metaverse projects to it. So I wanted to share some of the experiences and the ups and downs, and kind of like go back to the basics of what this is. If you want to see more detailed videos, you can always check out the Box Mining channel. There we go into a lot more detail about current projects and what are the insights of the space moving forward. We've been doing content since 2016, late 2016 now. So it's been quite a long period of time. And if you want to just do anything, just search Box Mining. It's kind of an origin story for me. I started off mining, but it's not just about mining. It's really about everything in the blockchain space and Web3. So starting off with Metaverse, I wanted to take a broad view out, and I went to the Oxford Dictionary. What's the dictionary interpretation of what a metaverse really is? And it's a virtual reality space where users can interact with a computer-generated environment with other users. Okay, very broad, very Oxford Dictionary. It's not very interesting, right? Okay, fair. Then, of course, in the media, you'll see that it is a virtual world that will usher the next phase of the internet. Okay. All right. That's a Wall Street Journal. Wall Street Journal's got a very exciting definition, very broad definition too. It's a virtual world that will usher the next phase. Like he is the next phase, right? So it can be anything at this point. Google Pictures, if you Google Metaverse up in Google, this is one of the first things that comes up. It's a guy holding a VR pair of goggles. The mainstream media tends to link AR, VR, Metaverse, everything together with bright, fancy colors. It's the new age, right? So the last thing here, of course, of maybe why a lot of people got captured this, a lot of people's attention is, we got Facebook rebranding to Meta as well. This is $1 billion and more than $1 billion venture. They're probably losing $1 billion per year right now, trying to make sense of the metaverse. But they were at the forefront of making the metaverse real. And really, they were the first ones that were bold enough to change their entire company name to Meta. So of course, then the question, comes out, why is it so broad? I mean, right now it does seem like the metaverse can mean everything. Can we have a good definition of the metaverse? And probably more interestingly to everyone here is like, is there any substance here? Is there anything that's really groundbreaking? Anything that's revolutionary in this space that's worth investing in? Right. I think a lot of people are asking this question, and I don't think the previous definitions of the metaverse actually helps with what's going on, to be honest. So why is it so broad? It's because it's about data. And the problem with data is that the metaverse, the data contained there is very, very broad. And what I'm going to do in this talk is I'm going to take a deep dive into seeing what actually is recorded on the blockchain, what sort of data is there, why this is very shareable and movable across worlds. But at the heart of it, the reason why this definition is so broad is because a metaverse doesn't have to be about AR technology. It doesn't have to be about VR. It doesn't have to be about the next generation. It's just a way of storing data. And there's so many ways and so much data you can pack in there which is why it is so broad. It's exactly the reason why it's broad is because it's just at the end of the day, just text. It's also popularized by public blockchains like Bitcoin and Ethereum, Solana, Polygon. And the ability of blockchains to store data is pretty powerful. Okay, you can say a database can store data. I mean, we've been doing that for for decades now. But what makes a public blockchain powerful is that this data can be stored in such a way that no one else can change it unless it's the original author or user who published it, which is why something like Bitcoin, it can't be cloned or it can't be like duplicated, because the way that data works is that there's certain permissions that only people with access to certain keys can access. So this is what really gives it power. Its ability of sharing data that across platforms and having that data publicly available, but having a certain set of rules that determine how this data can be modified. And I think the last part is probably the most important part too, because if you guys heard of the word smart contract, that's kind of what powers the entire system. And depending on how people write that smart contract, you define a certain set of rules, and these rules cannot be changed once this contract is deployed. And this is very different from a centralized system. This is where previously Facebook does store data, but Facebook has 100% control over the data they store. So that means that you can't really trust them. Like Microsoft wouldn't trust Facebook holding all that data, but Microsoft can trust Ethereum. Facebook can trust Ethereum. They have a kind of a common ground to work with. And the last thing that's kind of very powerful about this space is the ability to sell and trade assets. You've probably seen these incredible prices being posted for some certain NFTs. And this is an intrinsic ability of blockchain to do so. And I'll talk about that in a sec. So before moving further, like this is why this is so broad. This is about data. I kind of want to take a look and take a deep dive into what kind of data is being represented. This is a very kind of very broad template of what an NFT is. It's a non-fungible token. And this token really just has a bunch of properties that defines what it is. Oh, what is a name? What is the description? And if you have an image, you know, what is an image of this item? So this at its very core is an NFT. That's what it is. It's just a collection of data written in a way that programs can understand it very simply. And different programs can call on this NFT whenever. So we can be on Twitter and have access to this NFT, or it can be in a game. Now, there are different standards. All right. So I'm not going to talk too much about standards, but there's different ways to kind of format the data to make it look good. And it's like having different file formats. So you're going to encounter words like ERC 721 or ESE 1155. But at the end of the day, it's just like saving a docx file or a doc file. They're just different formats. I'm going to take a quick look. So, I mean, you guys heard about digital land, metaverse land. You probably guys heard a project like Sandbox, or in this case, we're going to take a little bit of a look at land. All right, this is a land being traded in OpenSea. It's being sold for 2 ETH right now, so it actually does have a little bit of value. But let's put that in context. What is this really? It's really, well, it's a contract on the Ethereum blockchain, and it's just a piece of data. Right now, we're seeing Decentraland. So this is a Decentraland parcel of land. We're going to take a closer look at it. It is really just a collection of data. That's the metadata for the exact same parcel. So we're taking a look at the parcel. The one I took is parcel 90, 129. So this is a coordinates of this data. So really, it just tells you, okay, what's a parcel name? What's a parcel description? What is the height? It has a little bit of data about certain attributes, the data about the color, etc. You can take a closer look at it too. This is the parcel of land, the same parcel of land, but this is being brought up by the Decentraland marketplace. So you can see that the marketplace actually gave it a little bit more context. So instead of just a string of numbers, you have more context as to, kind of where the neighbors are, where on the grid this piece of land is. And of course, once you jump in the game, you can click the jump in button in Decentraland, and you can jump in a game. You can actually look at this parcel of land. So it's the same data, all right? It tells you a coordinate. That's what's saved on the blockchain. But additional data is actually saved in Decentraland itself, in a centralized service, all right? This is where we have to make that distinction. So when the data itself being on Ethereum blockchain, that's kind of the raw form, the text form of everything. But once you need to access the data and you want to go into a virtual world, additional data like how many plants there are there, or if there's buildings there, that is actually saved on a centralized service. And this is the game world, the metaverse world that we see now. Now, why this distinction is very important is because a lot of people who view metaverses, they see the world and they see the media presentation of a virtual world, people walking around, they see the plants, they see the trees, they see houses, maybe a casino is being built there. But the reality is that a lot of that data is actually stored on Decentraland itself. And this is kind of the distinction that is quite necessary because at the end of the day, what's kind of powerful about this piece of land is that even different games, different worlds can use it. This is what makes it the meta part, the metaverse part, if you really want to put it here. So Decentraland, you can view it as just one way to access that piece of land. But at the same time, I can completely build another metaverse and I can use Decentraland NFTs and they can represent land in my metaverse as well. And this is what gives this space a little bit of a difference because we've seen virtual worlds in the past, but we haven't seen where virtual worlds work together. So what I'm trying to say here is that I think we're still at the very early stages of everything. Right now, we see at its very core, this ability of putting this data public, being able to trade on blockchain. But then we see these different clients coming in, like Decentraland, accessing that data and turning this into a world. What's powerful and the potential here in the long term is ability for different interpretations of the same data and being able for users to be able to migrate that data across worlds. And that's what makes it powerful. So the truth here, okay, so that's kind of like at the core what is kind of interesting about the space, the ability to transfer data across worlds. Is that the truth right now is that unfortunately lines of code are worth tens of thousands of dollars. So, going back to this original form, this original NFT, it really just tells you a parcel coordinate. But right now it's being sold for 2 Ethereum. That's essentially almost $3,000+, right? So the reality here is that these very small lines of code are worth thousands of dollars. In fact, some are worth millions. And there's a very low barrier for entry for issuers. So combining this together, there's a huge amount of people selling metaverse NFTs and NFT projects, which it creates a huge amount of confusion in the space. And it kind of makes it so that everyone wants to sell a different dream. But the problem is a lot of the dream isn't really built up yet because anyone can just create, let's issue out the NFT first and then we'll build the metaverse, we'll build the world later, we'll populate it later, but let's sell the land first, all right? So it creates a situation that we are in right now. And I do feel like this is the biggest problem with the metaverse space right now, which is lots of hype, lots of dreams, but because of such a low barrier of entry, almost anyone and anyone can just create an NFT out there. So summarizing there, I think I'm not going to talk about too many projects in specific because I feel like you're going to be bombarded by that anyways. I feel like I don't want to be another guy saying, yo, check out this project, check out that project, check out all the cheap NFTs I'm printing for barely a cent, right? I don't think it's necessary for me to do that right now. But I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of the basics that at the end of the day, this is at the core, it's about data. And that's really what's valuable, the ability to cross ecosystems with a bunch of the same data. And also, it's also about a way for different companies to work together. And you see that cooperation between different metaverses for different projects to try to share the same item. It might be a parcel of land. We went through a deep example of a parcel of land being shared, but it could be more than that. It could be a weapon. It could be an avatar. It could be an animal. And these are all new data types. And there's always a different interpretation that people can come up with. And at the end of the day, even if you bring in that your animal into another world, the world doesn't have the right to modify the animal, or it's your animal to keep. and they only make kind of like their interpretation of it. So I think that's kind of what's powerful about the space, the ability to work together and trust that you can work together in this space without people kind of damaging your data and such. So that's kind of what I want to talk. I think I went a little bit over time on this. So guys, thank you for listening to that. And if you have any questions, just ask away and I'll be able to answer some questions afterwards as well. So I'll pass that back to you, Cynthia.
Thank you very much, Michael. I think it's a very interesting sharing. We did receive some questions from the control panel, but I will leave it in the end after Sky's sharing. So at the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comment box and we will address them later. So thank you again, Michael, for your sharing. And I will now pass the time to Sky for another sharing and discussion. So Sky, please take the floor.
Sure. Thank you so much. Let me share my screen. Can you see my PowerPoint?
Yeah, no problem.
Cool. So first of all, thank you so much for time, and also thanks for Michael. It's a wonderful sharing. I think Michael's sharing is more on the high level, and also it brings out the importance of data, and also about how it's everything like blockchain is all about how we store the data in a decentralized way, right? So today my presentation is more about going deep dive into the potential of Metaverse and also the application of the Metaverse, and trying to bring out a couple of Metaverse projects, top Metaverse projects that you should be focusing on, and at least you should get to know in order to get into the Metaverse space. So allow me to introduce myself. So I'm Sky, and actually I started my crypto space in 2020, and I start my YouTube channel and also start creating some content on NFT and Metaverse. So cool. So before starting this sharing, I just want to ask a question. Then you can just type it in the text in the chat room. I just want to know, has anyone already played Metaverse before? So has anyone really entered into the Metaverse space, like Sandbox, Decentraland, other side? Then you text yes. If yes, text yes. If no, please text no.
To me, it's a no. It's a no for me.
Yeah, I just want to know, like, I just want to know the split, the ratio. How many guys have entered? Nope. Okay, cool.
Still stuck in the
real
world.
I guess it would be half-half.
Okay, yeah, it's like half-half.
Cool. Asset Infinity, yes. Oh, cool. Nice, cool. Then got some change. Okay, cool. So I feel like most of you guys actually have entered the Metaverse. So I think I try to twist the content a little bit. So to me, I think Metaverse, lots of definitions on Metaverse, right? But to me, I think Metaverse is not only about VR, AR, it's not only about centralized or decentralized way, but to me, I think the core of Metaverse is about the virtual world that you are going to live with, and the virtual avatar that you are going to use in another world. So no matter what technologies that you are using, no matter you are playing with VR goggles, or no matter you are playing with AR technology, or no matter it's like a Facebook centralized metaverse or like a Sandbox decentralized on-chain metaverse, I think to me it doesn't really matter. I think everyone got a definition of metaverse, but to me, I think the key of the metaverse is about having a virtual avatar, virtual identity on a virtual world. Okay, that's the definition of metaverse. Okay, to me. So I think right now, in terms of the market, people have a really fantasy, have a high expectation of metaverse, such as I'm sure like I'm just like play a little bit play some videos on the Ready Player One video movie, which is, I think it shows the potential, or which shows the fantasy of the metaverse. Let me show it. Just play a couple of seconds.
For all the things they can do.
You can see my YouTube, right?
Because of all the things they can be.
Yeah.
Can you feel this?
Yeah.
So I think like if you guys haven't get into the metaverse world, I think a lot of people may have a misunderstanding on right now. Actually, you can go to Metaverse and you can do everything that you want. You can have fun. Then you can have a date with the girls. That you have a physical feeling of a girl touching your body. Like I think that's the ultimate goal, right? But at least right now, to me, honest, Metaverse right now still lacks of a lot of applications and also lacks of technology to help us really achieve the ultimate vision, the ultimate goal of Metaverse, which is quite similar to the Ready Player One level. So let me bring you guys to the reality. So right now, actually, I just want to show the top 3 Metaverse projects that we're going to have right now at this stage. So which is the Decentraland, Sandbox, and Other Side. So far, I just like top 3 to me. I think it's more about the market cap and also the noise of the project as well. So for example, like I want to show you the Decentraland of the Metaverse, just like 5 seconds to let you know how it looks. So that's the first. I think that would be the one of the first Metaverse project on the blockchain, Decentraland. I think it came out in 2017. So I think that is quite of the one. That was one of the most popular Metaverse right before Sandbox and Other Side. But you can see that actually the quality of the graphics of the game, or you can see that actually the so-called Metaverse is quite similar to a PC game, right? At the end, right? So I think that would be like a 2017 Metaverse. Okay, so let me bring you to the 2021 Metaverse, which is Sandbox. And also the 2022 Metaverse, which is Other Side. This is my Sandbox. You can see the graphics.
It looks like Minecraft, no?
Yes, very similar to Minecraft, yeah. And just the asset is all about NFT, and you can trade the assets. Yeah, and that would be the Sandbox. And also, let me show you another one, the Other Side, which is the
other side were exactly as depicted, ready for what I was about to experience.
You can see the graphic actually is much better than the Decentraland and Sandbox. So this is the Other Side Metaverse. So as you can see, like right now, the top tier Metaverse is still quite similar to the PC game that we are playing at Roblox or other PC game, right? Minecraft. So I just want to, I mean, the point of saying that is I just wanted to bring you guys to the reality of the Metaverse. Actually, right now, we are still in the stage of lacking the real application, still lacking the real technology, no matter it's a software technology or hardware technology, in order to achieve the ultimate version of the Metaverse, which is similar to the Ready Player One. Okay, so after zooming to the reality of the Metaverse, so I just want to like explain why NFT matters to the Metaverse. So actually, Metaverse, this term like came out I think 20 years, 30 years ago. But why Metaverse suddenly goes up this term? Like why suddenly is so popular? I think not only because of the Facebook name, but also it's about the NFT, the rise of the NFT. Actually, NFT plays a super important role within the Metaverse ecosystem. So imagine right now. So imagine that you have been playing for a mobile game for a long time ago, and you have been keep playing for like 10 years, and you have won a lot of points, weapons that actually you cannot have a like a open marketplace to trade, and the points that or the credit that the game offers to you actually are non-tradable. And also the game can actually shut down anytime, or can even ban your account because of nonsense reason. So actually NFT plays a super important role. Why? Because it serves as an economic ecosystem. So it's kind of like it plays an economic layer on top of the Metaverse world. Because with NFT, you got the financial incentive, you got an economic incentive to really spend time in the Metaverse. So you got incentive to really earn money, earn token within the Metaverse world, and then you can buy it. You can buy a jacket and actually you can trade it, and the jacket actually belongs to you. No matter whether the game collapses, whether the game goes bankrupt, or whether they try to ban you, the jacket still belongs to you. So I think the NFT actually, because actually at the end, NFT at the end is about ownership, right? So all the in-game assets that you have been playing, that you have been like that you have been focusing on for your past 10 years can actually belongs to you at the end. So that's a super important change. I think in this, like in 2021, in 2020 is because of the NFT. Okay. And after explaining some basic concept, I will go deep dive into some like common metaverse application that you have that you can have get to know, like on a high level. So for example, like entertainment. So I just want to let you know, guys, actually all over the world, a lot of like industries have already, Web2 industries actually have already tried to get into the Web3 space, or at least try to combine their traditional business into the metaverse industry, or using the metaverse technology. So entertainment is definitely one of the common or popular industries. So a lot of like virtual concerts. So Justin Bieber did his virtual concert last year in the metaverse space, and also Samsung did is the new Samsung phone launch event and the Decentraland World. So not only of course they will still do the physical launch events, but also do a online metaverse launch events. As I think it's especially due to the COVID situation. So they try to put everything online, try to put everything on the metaverse, try to like speed up the adoption of the metaverse as well. So even Samsung did a launch event on the metaverse. And also e-commerce, for example, like Tommy Hilfiger, they did e-commerce events on Decentraland. So actually a lot of brands are doing like try now, pay later concept and the in metaverse. So basically you can just pay a small price, maybe like for example, let's just pay like 10% or 20% of the original price of the product. Then you can have a test. Then you can try it on. You can try it on your avatar. I can really buy a virtual jacket, virtual Tommy Hilfiger jacket, and I can try it on my Decentraland avatar. And then after trying it on, if in case I think it looks cool, it's great, then I can redeem it. I can redeem the virtual jacket, and then you can ship it to my actual address. So that's also how e-commerce industry is also getting changed by the metaverse as well. And then also like fashion week, lots of like events can happening, and also office. In Korea, I think in Korea is quite popular right now. A lot of Korean corporate trying to shift the office space into the metaverse, and I mean the employees just go into the metaverse world, and then they have to they have to go to the office and then check in every day to get the token, and the token is actually the salary. So they have to really go into the virtual office space to get their salary every day. And not only office space, but also like traveling or cultural promotion as well, especially for travel. For example, the Sandbox. I think one of the largest metaverse, as I just mentioned. So Sandbox actually they have a lot of like gameplay and a lot of like scenarios or environments that they have actually those scenarios and also those places and actually comes from the real world. For example, like this one is Star Ferry based in Hong Kong. So it's one of the most historical place in Hong Kong. So with this metaverse, not only the Hong Kong citizens, but also the people around the world would get to know about the Hong Kong historical place because of the metaverse. So it also plays a very important role to like doing some cultural promotion and also travel not only across different countries, not only like, for example, I'm based in Hong Kong and I can travel to US, travel to Egypt, but also travel back to like 100 years ago, 1000 years ago. So just to like have a time travel as well. So it kind of like it's time travel, amazing. And also education as well. So with the metaverse, so basically students can have a class trip to anywhere, like and any era as well. So if you learn history, then you can go back to like 5,000 years ago to learn history. So that, and also brings to the education as well, and a theme park as well. So actually a lot applications. And at the end, before finishing the sharing, just want to show more about like the real application or the real like industries or layers within the metaverse. So because if you like, metaverse is a huge jargon, right? But if you really want to deep dive into what kind of elements compose of, or like what kinds of elements combined in order to become a metaverse. So like I will kind of like divide different elements into these 7 pieces. So starting from infrastructure, so it requires a lot of like for example 5G, Wi-Fi, cloud, in order to support the high technology requirements of the metaverse. Yeah. And then for the human interface, it requires some like hardware, right? VR goggles, mobile, like desktop, laptop. For example, like if you guys go to the metaverse to have experience later. So actually most of the metaverse right now can only applicable on desktop or laptop. And also, for example, Decentraland that I suggest you guys to play later. So if your laptop is a little bit like outdated, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, then it might not be able to afford the requirement of Decentraland as well. So that's why the hardware requirement also matters as well. And of course, blockchain technologies, edge computing, the technologies, the software technology as well, and also the 3D modeling, VR, AR, or XR, and also the design tools, 3D modeling stuff. And also it's more so about like the ad network. Right now, lots of like advertisement are happening within the metaverse. So one of the most like common business model of owning a metaverse land is about advertisement. So like in the real world, you can do a lot of like outdoor billboard advertisement. So you just go to the on the street. So they will do like project you the advertisement, right? So exactly same logic applied to the metaverse as well. So like they can count how many visits, how many traffic that you have on your land. Then they can give you the corresponding advertisement, and also they pay you the corresponding advertisement fee as well. And also the experience, like what kind of games, what kind of events they're actually experiencing. Like for example, the Samsung launch events, for example, the sports game or the casino that you're experiencing directly on the metaverse. That's the most surface level that on the metaverse that you will come across. So that would be like the deep dive or the breakdown of the whole metaverse. And at the end, just try to say like I think metaverse is definitely one of the trend that's going to shift the world. Although despite not maybe in the coming like 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, but like in 5 years or 10 years, I think it's definitely a trend. So if you come from a Web 2 background, so try to think of how to combine, or try to think of how to leverage the metaverse technology into your own industries. So if you can't beat them, just join them. And also suggest you guys to go to enter metaverse. It's not a rocket science. So it's just simple, super easy. You can just click in the link. You don't have to, if you don't have a wallet, no worries. You don't need to have a wallet. You don't need to have a wallet at all. You just need to have a laptop with normal speed, with a good Wi-Fi, and then just click in the link. Just search Decentraland. Just search spatial, like on the Google. Then you just tap on it. Then you can just like play it with one click. Super easy. Then at least you will know what is metaverse, like what kind of metaverse that you are that others are talking about. So this is the call. This is my like call to action and the message to all of you guys. And at the end, like this is my Twitter and this is my YouTube as well. So my name is Guy, and my YouTube channel, my Twitter account is called Investment. So feel free to follow me, and happy to exchange ideas with you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Guy. I think, yeah, I was hesitating to try the metaverse because I didn't have a wallet yet. But as you mentioned, yeah, I will try to go have a look tonight. Thank you very much. And since we have a lot of questions, Kelmei, I will just directly jump to the Q&A session. And so I would like Sky and Michael to reply to the questions. So we have the first question from Zan. Then ask, must the metaverse be served by blockchain data-based systems? If it is just another set of VR chats or MMORPGs served by a group or individual using existing database and payment system, would metaverse then still remain its branding? What do you think, Michael?
Okay, so at this current point, it doesn't have to be blockchain, but something that's powerful, I would say, is the ability to move between worlds. That's kind of the real big power here. If it's just one world, we've seen that before. We've seen World of Warcraft. We've seen even the Facebook ecosystem. You can consider that as a mini world by itself. But why Facebook wanted to expand into Meta is because they wanted to work with other people. So blockchain just provides a simple way for people to work together because it's kind of like, it doesn't have a centralized ownership. It doesn't have someone that can just come in and modify that set of data. So to answer the question, it's just the most convenient and most accessible way for people to work together in a trustless fashion.
Thank you. Scott, do you want to share?
Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense. I think like blockchain serves as like a standard protocol, standard way to connect different metaverse together. But to me, I think like metaverse doesn't have to be blockchain necessary. It can be super centralized. It can be centralized, and every asset that you own actually not owned by you, but owned by the company that build the metaverse. And maybe at the end, like the metaverse that Facebook is trying to build, maybe is the like single one big metaverse that's going to monopolize everything. They're going to rule all of our like everyday life. It might come out true. So I think metaverse and blockchain is not equal. So it could be, but not the equal.
I see. Thank you. I think it's also related to the then second question. How is NFT a big benefit to users when it is used exclusively in a platform like Decentraland, which is merely bought or sold using a token, just like how existing players buy credits like Sony PlayStation tokens and use it to buy things in MMORPG like games? So how can NFT be a big benefit if it is actually owned by exclusive platform? What do you think, Michael?
Okay, so yeah, I think there's a little bit of definitions here. So when you buy an NFT, technically it's set by a set of contracts. So technically speaking, there are certain NFTs that you can that you own, and technically it's created by Decentraland, but it's owned by you. I think that's the biggest distinction that needs to be made here. And once Decentraland creates those NFTs, they can't go and modify and change the rules on you. So they can't say, oh, let me remove that, let me take that away because of that particular set of smart contracts that they set up. But this does not apply to everything, which is why I'm not going to use broad phrasing here. It doesn't apply to everything. It depends on what they do when they publish that smart contract. That defines the rules of where it's go here. So typically speaking, for a lot of these contracts or for a lot of these NFTs, you can trade them easily and you own them and you can trade them on any platform. So you can take the same Decentraland NFT, you trade it on OpenSea, you can go to another one, you can go to Rarible, you can go to Supercoin, whatever one you want, Super Farm, whatever. It doesn't matter where you trade them. You can go to Christie's for God's sakes, and so you can sell them there. But so it's platform agnostic in a way. It is being held on the blockchain, but it doesn't have to be one platform that trades or sells it, and it doesn't have to enter the same game. I think that's what's powerful about it. Decentraland can use their NFTs, but like I said, I can make my own game that can use decentralized NFTs so long as I want it to be. Like I can integrate it. Like I can get programmers to integrate these features, and it's not too hard. It's very open. I guess that's the power of it. It's very open to interpretation.
Yeah, I think Michael brings a good point from the technical and the smart contract perspective. To me, I think my answer is more about on the economic incentive side. So like, I think everything is about like a step-by-step change. So you cannot force everyone to really step into the metaverse like from yesterday to today. So to me, I think like having like, if you spend a lot of time and effort really having a virtual life or another identity in Decentraland is already very good to a metaverse journey. So to me, like having NFT only exclusively usable or applicable in Decentraland, which is maybe a step like 2.5, right? From Web 2 to Web 2 to Web 3. It's kind of like a Web 2.5. So it's quite similar to like a country, right? So if you consider Decentraland as like a Japan and consider Sandbox as Korea and consider other side as Singapore, for example. So right now, like every country has got their own currency, but that currency actually like you can consider owned by you, but you cannot use it across other countries. So at least you can still enjoy your life within your own country, like within your own Decentraland. So, but at least maybe one day, at our ultimate version of Metaverse, which is the interoperability, right? The connection across all Metaverse, like so with the blockchain technologies, every NFT should be applicable to all countries or all marketplace or all like infrastructures. So I think right now it's kind of like a step to help you at least enjoy within one Metaverse ecosystem. But I think in the long term, with NFT getting more connected with other different kinds of Metaverse, so like it like increase your incentive to having a virtual life in the on the online world.
I see. So actually, we have a question from Phoebe that asks how you actually encash the assets you have in the metaverse. Can you trade only in a specific world or across different worlds? So according to what Sky just mentioned, we are still far from trading across different worlds. Is that what you mean? Like it's still not a unified assets across countries.
Can you trade?
Actually,
okay. For example, like for question 4, right? Question 4,
yeah.
right? Yeah, to me, I think like encash asset. So you need to have a middle point, right? Like in the real world, it's USD, and in the blockchain world right now, it might be Ethereum, might be USDT. So for example, if you want to change the asset that you have earned from one metaverse, might be from Sandbox, might be then actually you can cash out using Sandbox token, Sand token, right? And you can change Sand token into Ethereum token, and then you can use Ethereum token to buy another things on another metaverse. So that's how you encash or cash out from the asset. Yeah.
And just to fill in a point as well here, because the NFT is an object that you own, you can put it on any marketplace that you want. So you're not really limited to, say, a Sandbox branded exchange. So you can go from a Sandbox exchange, sure, and cash out to Sandbox tokens and cash out the long way. Or, of course, you can go to, OpenSea and do it with Ethereum, trade it. And in fact, a lot of these exchanges are now allowing different types of currencies too. So OpenSea no longer just accepts Ethereum. Now you can use native Sandbox tokens or USDT. You can use different stable coins as well. And I see that this technology will be very rapidly able to expand directly to cash as well. There are a lot of services that allow you to directly change real world fiat currencies directly into the cryptocurrency now. And I feel like that these are stuff that different people can build but can work together in conjunction to make a very seamless experience. So yeah, I foresee a place where you can just instantly just like swipe a credit card or immediately get a token and cash in and out very easily.
I think our audience is really concerned about the connection between the virtual and actual world. So there's a question asking, is a bought NFT truly usable between different platforms, or is it dependent on whether those platforms support the code base behind the NFT blockchain and 3D models? If not, what plans do these platforms have on supporting these technical barriers? Our audience has a lot of questions about the technical and economic barriers. Will that be some killer issues?
I guess I'll fill this in first. I think it's a kind of interesting question, and yet again, it's a lot of questions that I guess from my side, because I've been creating blockchain content for a long time, we don't actually get asked these questions a lot, but I really appreciate it because it really educates me on what people are concerned about as well. So what's interesting here is can you use a NFT or can you use that in every single world? I think that's the dream, but it's really up to the company at the end. So you have the ownership of your NFT. It's like you owning a hat. But the problem is when you want to bring the hat into a world, that world has to allow you to bring this hat in. It's like I guess the analogy is not just hats. Maybe it's like bring your own wine to a restaurant. I think that would probably be a better analogy where, you know, some restaurants just don't allow you to bring any alcohol at all, right? They're like, you know, you cannot bring your own alcohol. You have to buy the same alcohol, right? But you have to buy it with exorbitant prices in our restaurant. So there might be some cases where some metaverses will not allow you to bring your NFTs over. That could be a possibility. It could be an economic reason because they want to make money selling more expensive versions of the same thing. Other metaverses might be like, okay, you know what? We don't have hats, right? So we'll let you bring your hat in, no problem, right? And it's extremely easy for them to integrate code that allows you to bring it in because, like I said, it's if your hat is on a public blockchain, that information is very easy to access and to prove that you own that certain hat. So it's really subjective to, at the end of the day, the metaverse creator or the metaverse provider. That I will say, like if it's decentralized and say, okay, we have an open wine policy, you can bring your wine and whatever, then it can. So there's no rules enforcing that right now. So that's why right now this is still the Wild West. There's no rules saying, oh, every company must enforce a policy where you can bring a Hermes hat in, you know, because Hermes said so. It's not like that right now, but in the future, who knows? But right now it's very, very open.
Yeah, I think Michael's answer is perfect. I don't have anything.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we also have a very interesting comment from the audience. Like another example is like when entering a country, customs might prohibit you bringing alcohol or tobacco products. Yeah, so it's the same thing. Got it. So after talking about the technical issues, we move on to the application side because we actually have an audience that is from the education sector. So we have a question from Fifi J. So Fifi J is from EdTech. Could you share more about the words in education for me to check out? Also, can you enter the metaverse as a viewer, or you must also be a participant too, as an avatar with NFTs? Because I think Sky, in your presentation, you mentioned about the education side. So yeah, maybe.
Actually, I think a lot of universities have already partnered with like Decentraland to launch their like virtual metaverse building. I can share out some links that for your own study. Yeah, let me share it out.
Thank you.
You say, Michael? Let me share it out.
Yeah, while Sky is searching for links, Michael, would you like to reply to this question? Can you enter the metaverse as a viewer, or you must always be a participant too? Can I just enter and look at everyone?
I mean, it could be anything, right? So if a metaverse is a broad definition, you can be a viewer all you want. Yeah, you can be a viewer, you can be a participant. I think it's a broad enough definition to include.
Okay, thank you. So another question is, has there been someone who bought someone else's NFT avatar and uses that to their benefit? Is it like stealing things, I guess? Has there been someone who bought someone else's NFT avatar? Oh, no, it's actually buying. And use that to their benefit. And it's a question to,
sorry.
Yeah.
Quick question. Which question? Sorry, question 7.
Oh, we are question 7. Has there been someone who bought someone else NFT avatar and uses that to their benefit?
Any concrete examples?
Maybe you can skip it first. Maybe I would like the audience to maybe elaborate a bit that question.
Yeah, so I just shared out Hong Kong at the University of Hong Kong that has partnered with the Decentraland Foundation to build out their medical school virtual metaverse within the Decentraland. So you can check it out on the link.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Indeed, time is already 5:30 in Singapore, but we will also like to cover all of the questions, so please stay as with a bit longer time. So another question from Dan. Dan asked, why would companies build virtual spaces on Metaverse platforms when it is more economical for them to just do the same with existing platforms like VR Chat or Second Life?
Oh, it's a good question. To be honest, I think it's all about upside, and it's all about user and investor expectation. To be honest, right now, I think it's pretty similar to why a lot of like Web2 companies trying to go to Web3 space. A similar reason to why Facebook tries to get into Web3 space. I think it's all about the future, the potential, and the unlimited power that the Metaverse is trying to bring. So actually, to be honest, right now, I think a lot of applications on the Metaverse isn't good enough compared to the existing platforms. Like, for example, I'm doing YouTube. So if you guys you go to my Metaverse to watch my YouTube or to watch my live stream, I'm pretty sure the experience that you have is not as good as you just directly go to YouTube to watch my live stream. So right now, I'm pretty sure like Web2 experience is still quite good or still like better than the Web3 experience. But the reason why a lot of companies try to tap into Web3 space is because they think the Web3 experience is going to change, it's going to be better and better. And in order to get into Web3 space, it takes time. It takes maybe a couple of years to study, a couple of years to combine the Web3 technologies with their own existing business model, and or maybe like build out their Metaverse land, build out the Metaverse space. It takes years. So that's why they just try to like announce it ASAP, like announce a partnership with Sandbox, all those stuff, and then try to get in the market first before the competitor. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. So I would like to move on to the next question. Is there any progress in making the market more secured to prevent fraud? Like, people are worried that crypto or NFT is just another Ponzi scam. So any progress that to prevent it happening, to secure the market? Anything you want to share, Michael?
I think it's an interesting question. And it really depends on how many different points of the ability to create fraud or not. And it's a very difficult question to answer, because by itself, right, if you've been in the space for a long time, the culture in Bitcoin is to verify, don't trust. So you never trust anyone unless it comes directly from the Bitcoin blockchain. That's the Bitcoin culture. All right. So anytime someone tells you some sort of information, or if they have Bitcoin or not, you go check on the blockchain their address. And technically speaking, you shouldn't even use a provider of blockchain explorer. You should if you are a true Bitcoin maximalist, you should run your own Bitcoin node, which is a node that is equal in rights and power to everyone else on the system. And you should check your own copy of your blockchain if that is legit, or if someone's telling you the truth or not. So that's the original culture of Bitcoin. But of course, along the way, right, we start using services that make our life a little bit more convenient. So yes, we can go and check an address and use a blockchain explorer for example, and we tend to trust that to be good. So it's very hard to answer the question. It depends on where you are at. But if you're a new user and you're using a lot of different tools, it's very easy for fraud to come into that space. And an example of that would be Instagram. So right now, there's a lot of fraudsters on Instagram, because people start trusting people on Instagram for information or investment advice. Apparently, an example would be fake box mining. So there are apparently people who call themselves box mimic because the Q looks like a G. So those fraudsters would try to create users' names and profiles that look very, very similar to my profile and create fraud that way. And this applies to every single industry where there could be one letter change away, and they try to fraud other people. But at the end of the day, there could be if it's relying on third-party systems, there's always be a game of cat and mouse. And I do see that the cats are getting better now. So eventually, I see if Instagram can start filtering out the fraudsters, and if someone has a one letter away, they can start implementing systems that can catch fake profiles, or they can catch fake people. But at the end of the day, if you the true innovation really goes if it goes back to Maxi philosophy, which is don't trust, verify yourself. And I mean, that's the only way to do it. But yeah,
right, that's always the golden rule.
Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense. To me, I think fraud actually doesn't only apply to the crypto or blockchain world. It applies to everywhere. So I think, I mean, a lot of people just correlate crypto or blockchain with the fraud, but actually, even in the traditional finance world, even in the reality, like even in the Instagram, just like Michael just shared, or even in Tinder, even in dating world, there's a lot of
Right.
fraud, right? So actually, I think I wouldn't say like the full responsibility, but at least like half of the responsibility that you have a fraud that you commit in a fraud actually should come from yourself. You should be as smart as you can. You should not you should do your own research, right? But I would say like right now, like apart from you doing your part well or perfect, governments and also like the service provider are also trying to improve their platforms, like government trying to like offer a lot of like regulations or license to kind of like regulate the market. So I think in certain sense, it kind of makes the market become more secure if you look at this way. But I think it's more about the personal responsibility. You should take it.
Right.
You should take this responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we have this kind of webinar, so that actually you understand what it's about, and so that when you know more, then you can protect yourself.
Yeah.
So
You wouldn't complain like Tinder.fraud, right? This is
Right,
your
right.
responsibility.
Yes, cool. Okay, so actually I have a question about crypto, because as you can see from the news that the price of cryptos actually fluctuate a lot in these months. So does it actually affect your trust or your faith in this industry? Like, do you think actually people don't really trust crypto or NFT anymore because the price is actually decreasing recently? What do you think, Michael? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll answer first, and then I really appreciate Sky's answers too. I really appreciate working with you, Sky, to answer these questions too. So I've been through so many cycles. I don't care anymore. I think, if I gave up, I would have, been pretty salty by now. So not at all, I guess, is the answer. But it does hurt. But at the end of the day, because we've seen the ups and downs, I mean, I've been here since Bitcoin was $10. So, it's been up and down like a million times. You get desensitized. You actually don't see it as much anymore.
Yeah, I think like Michael is so super sophisticated within this industry. But to me, I think it's more about like you have to understand what the price means or what the price reflects behind the scene, right? To me, I think what really affect our faith is more about the application or the mass adoption of the blockchain. To me, even the price fluctuate, but at least I can see like a lot of like decentralized applications, the number of active wallet address or the new wallet address, or a lot of actually like foundations, the blockchain fundamentals are doing pretty good, are doing like better and better, even in the bear market. So this is the concern that in case if I see there are like a declining trend of like active wallet address, like, or there are declining trend or the active developers on the blockchain, that might be affecting my faith instead of the drop of the crypto price. So the price is, I mean, like when you stay in this industry for a long time, you will see like the price ups and down actually is affected by a lot of factors, right? Like like the insider stuff. So to me, I think like we put it as a long-term long vision. So actually, to be honest, I think like at this like 2022, like crypto honestly, like if you just put the same bucket of money into like property or in the stock, I would, oh my God, I think it's so hard to compare, right? So crypto is really for new generation. I think it's especially for our generation to really step up into the social circle, step up into the social status as well. Yeah.
So it's like temporary. There's always up and downs, and we have to see it in the long term.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, since Sky also mentioned about the decentralization, so I also have a question that actually some people challenge that it's really hard to do decentralization because actually big companies, big corporates, or indeed the government would step in. They would want to control it. So what do you think about that?
I guess everyone wants to do something, but so long as there is internet, you can't really stop decentralization. Like at the end of the day, the way I see it is the way the technology is moving is that eventually Bitcoin nodes would be on like satellites. So long as there's information access to satellites, and even something like being able to put that on SpaceX or something like that, it's impossible to stop. So I guess you can stop people from using it, but you can't stop it itself, if you get what I mean. So
I think like it's true. Decentralization is super hard to implement. I think it's more about the concept. To me, I think there's no like purely black or white. There's no purely like a lot of people would ask like, would crypto take place of fiat? Would crypto replace fiat? I'm honestly, or like even like would YouTube replace traditional TV, right? There's the question that coming from like 30 years ago. Exactly, right? I think a lot of people say like, oh my God, like YouTube is going to disrupt the TV or radio. But right now, actually a lot of people is still listening to radio, right? So it's not like Web 2 or Web 3. I think it's always about Web 2.5. To me, like for example, I'm running a DAO. To me, I think it's super hard to find the balance between centralization and decentralization. Like decentralization, of course, a lot of benefit that I don't have to mention, but actually has a lot of like drawbacks as well. I mean, the efficiency, the lack of efficiency, and also super hard to motivate people to really dedicate and devote into a group. So to be honest, I think it's always a balance. I mean, like maybe I think to me, maybe the day when I die, I feel like it's still like kind of a Web 2.5, big company trying to do decentralization, but in a centralized way.
True. Like sometimes we have some unrealistic fantasy towards the metaverse, but actually in the end of the day, the metaverse and the actual world is not mutually exclusive. We're always living in between it. So I think we have been overrunning for a bit. It looks like we have covered all the bases. Is there anything else you wanted to mention before wrapping up, Sky and Michael? Anything you want to say?
I think I'm good. Really appreciate this session. Really like what talking to you, Cynthia and Sky. Really great.
Yeah, me as well. So
Okay.
if you have any questions, then just like send me a message on Twitter or Instagram so we can like interact.
Okay, thank you very much. So thanks for everyone for joining us. Feel free to follow Michael's YouTube channel and also Sky's Twitter and also his YouTube channel. And we really appreciate everyone for your active participation today. And you can also join our Discord server to discuss more about Metaverse and the NFTs. The link is just posted in the chat box. And we are also having physical events in Singapore with the startup community. So follow our meetup and Discord to get the updates. Thank you very much again for joining us today, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, see you.
Bye.